then SG will come in.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And so I invite this committee to have that at the back of our minds. They're real. They're not just statistics. We can look at a booklet like that and see 60 people dead, hundreds in jail. These are real people with families, with loved ones. I've been a victim myself, so I know it's real, you know. I was beaten badly on nomination day of Honorable Chagulanyi, and to date I bear scars of this brutality. So they are real. Number two, Madam Chair, as we interrogate these issues, and I'm glad you're going to interact with the leadership of police and the army, there are concerns, and some we have raised in that report. One of the things that bothers us is the manner of arrest. We're not saying any of us is above the law. No one is. But if you think that Ssenyonyi has committed an offense, what is prescribed in the law in regards to how you arrest him, how you deal with him? Because what happens, people are abducted in the middle of the night by these notorious cars now known as drones. Sometimes they'll break their doors and the family members ask, where are you taking this person? And nothing is said. They are in, casual wear. They're not in military attire or anything of the sort. They're wielding guns. And they do whatever they want to do in a manner so wanton. Madam Chair, if we don't take these matters
do they identify themselves?
No, they don't. They don't. They have guns and, and that's why we categorize them as missing persons. Because, you see, if they're taken by police, then we know they're in police detention. They're not exactly missing. And that kind of situation. Madam Chair, I was watching news yesterday, and I saw one of those drone cars was burnt by people yesterday, somewhere in Bukoto. That's in an area that I'm going to represent in Parliament as MP Lake Nakawa West. That worried me because people are saying if the state cannot protect us, if the law cannot protect us, then we've got to fight for our lives. Because if these drones are operating illegally, they are numberless, some of them, some have ordinary plates. The people they are in don't have any identification, they wield guns. So if you come at me, the Constitution actually avails me the opportunity to defend myself. If you come to my house, you're wielding a gun, people have pangas and other weaponry they use to protect themselves. So what's going to happen? There's going to be a clash. Is that what we want for this country? That now people are going to begin banning these drones like they did yesterday. And now probably they'll begin to go after the occupants of these drone cars. I don't think that's what we want for this country. And so we need to critically, look at these manners. I mean, the manner of especially arrest and how the law gets to be followed. The other issue that is of concern, Madam Chair and members, and some of these we've interacted, with these situations along the way. So recently, we did hold a peaceful protest, again demanding for the release of these people. We were taken to CPS, personnel was taken into, it's like a dungeon where many of these people were held. I had an interaction with a number of these people. Each of them was quickly giving me an account of their situation. Some have been at CPS, in that dungeon they call a cell, for weeks. They've not been produced before a court of law. They have not been charged. They are being held in that place. Madam Chair, this country has laws. And so there's the 48-hour rule, which we must respect. And I'm glad you're going to interact again with people in security, because sometimes they'll say, no, let's throw it out. Everybody needs to know that you want the law to operate because tomorrow you might need it. I'll cite an example of General Kale Kaihura. He was police chief. He's one of those who are saying we should abandon this 48-hour rule for some, accused persons. But you see, after he left police and he was at Karuhanga, before the general court martial pleading, please release this man, he's been held beyond 48 hours. And so it's important that this gets to happen. Second, inmates in the prisons across the country. According to the Ministry of 1,000 inmates, in fact, the exact number, 55,229. 49% of these have been on remand, some for years. And I've also seen this because every once in a while we go to Chitalia to interact with our colleagues, visit them and so on, and they tell us the situation there because they interact with inmates. Some have been on remand, you will not believe it, but there are people who have been on remand for 5 years, for 7, even for 10, Madam Chair. What are laws there for then? What's a committee like this one in place for? Because that's a violation of somebody's human right. They have not been found guilty, they have not been sentenced, but they're languishing in jail for years. I think that this committee needs to interest itself in matters such as those, that we get to broaden it, that is beyond just NUP. It's about our country, because some have been there for 5 years. That was before NUP came into being, at least as it is. We should focus on these people. Lastly, Madam Chair, incidentally, people have a lot of hope in Parliament. I see that now as an MP elect. For some reason, people think I'm going to perform miracles. They have a lot of hope. There are those that will disdain Parliament for many reasons, and they have their reasons. Maybe some are valid, but people have hope in Parliament. People learned that we are coming to this committee today about these matters. And a number of them were excited. My prayer is that we don't dash the hopes of these people. I know that this committee has got challenges. Honorable was, Adam rating about how this very committee we saw. You went and you were trying to access safe houses, and they said you cannot access them, even as MPs, even as a committee on human rights. That bothered me. So I don't know, and maybe it's also a question that I'll throw back at you, or food for thought. The expectation that Ugandans have in processes such as this, because their loved ones are missing, their loved ones have gone back home with fingernails plucked out. There's a young man whose tongue was cut because they were asking him to speak. Tell us Bobi Wine's plans. And I thought, but this young man, what does he know about Bobi Wine's plans? Come for Ssenyonyi, at least he sits with Bobi Wine and they plan. And anyway, our plans are open. We want to change leadership within the law. But that's important for this committee. People need to feel that this committee can do something about these matters and that some action can be taken, as opposed to we come here, interact with you, there's media and so on, you put together a report and then it piles dust somewhere, and it's business as usual. People want to see different. I hope we can promise them that. Thank you.
I wanted to also make, before I respond to the question on the Constitution, I do not know if any of the committee members believes that the specific clause I'm talking about is one regarding the right to peaceful assembly. When every time we've tried to organize a peaceful demonstration, how can we say that citizens have the right to peacefully demonstrate unarmed, but yet every time we try to do that, we are met with so much force? On the other question specifically, I was asked about, Honorable Latif sought clarity on what I talked about. It is true, Madam Chair, that our team, the entire campaign team of Honorable Chagulanyi, was arrested on 30th of December in Kalangala. The charge sheet, a copy of which I have here on phone and we're going to provide you a copy with, says that they committed the offense on 3rd of January. That is when they were found with bullets at Kavule in Makerere. On 3rd, they were already in prison. They were actually already in the custody of the military. So one wonders how they committed this offense when they were under. It's laughable to say the least. First of all, 49 people being said to have been found with 4 bullets and 1 magazine. Does not any make logical sense. But Madam Chair, for that, these people have been at Chitalia now for close to 3 months, going through incredible suffering. Their families are shattered. Some of them have lost relatives and loved ones while there. Some of these are young people who have been taking care of their parents, of their, other people. But they are there simply for an offense which does not make any sense at all. And the courts have really not been willing. There seems to be a sense of fear, even with the regular courts, the High Court and others, to touch these matters. We try to apply for bail in the High Court, and the High Court wrote back to us saying, no, this is a matter which is before a military court, we cannot intervene, despite having previous precedents where the High Court has granted bail to people who are being tried by the military court. And that is why I think this committee needs to interact not just with the CDF, but even the chairperson of the court-martial and other such people to get clarity on these issues.
Can I just ask something? Court. What reason would you give as to why they are in the military court? Do you think they are rightly in the military court?
Because the military court ideally should be trying 119H of the EPDF Act, which places civilians, which was challenged many years ago before the Constitutional Court, and the Constitutional Court is yet to pronounce itself on the matter. But what the trend that we've seen, as you know, Madam Chair and members, the civilian courts have tended to grant bail because most of these offenses are always baseless. So because the courts, the civil courts normally give bail, the approach now changed. You are taken to the court-martial, which court-martial is not independent, which court-martial is convened under the EPDF Act by the President of this country, and therefore not independent. So you find that most of the people who go through that channel cannot be able to access bail until orders come in to say let them be given bail.
We would assemble more than this room, Madam Chair. We would